While Robinson greatly influenced Clay's boxing style, when it came to press interviews, the new champion was in a class by himself. Many years later, as Muhammad Ali, he gave his opinion of Robinson.
To me, in his time, and even today, the pound for pound, when they say Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest fighter pound for pound, meaning that I imagine if he was a heavyweight fighting the same style, he'd be the greatest. I would have to admit, I would have to say yes. I have his fight films, I've watched the films, you have them. That man was beautiful, timing, speed, reflexes, rhythm, his body, everything was beautiful. And to me, still, I would say pound for pound. I say I'm the greatest heavyweight of all times, but pound for pound, I still say Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest of all times. All records are broken. Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth's record got broken, Jesse Owens, all kind of records are broken. But I want to see somebody beat Sugar Ray's record. Nobody yet has beat his record.
Smokin' Joe Frazier in black trunks fights Jimmy Ellis for the World Heavyweight Championship. Joe has come up through the heavyweight ranks without losing a fight and bombs out Ellis with a devastating left hook.
He's a great gentleman. I saw some of the punch that he, shoot at a guy, and he's pretty quick. And he was the type of guy that, would dance around, move around. He was real flashy. And knowing the guy in real life, you know what I mean, as a person as of now he's retired, I think he's a swell guy. He's really a great guy,
It's now 1965. During the past few years, Robinson has fought in many locales against mostly nondescript fighters. Ray has been a professional for 25 years. He has held the welterweight crown and was middleweight champion of the world 5 times. Yet, he desires more.
I'm boxing because I've had a wonderful, wonderful career as a fighter. I think I've certainly been a very blessed man. And I would like to end this career with a great climax if I possibly can. If I can regain the middleweight championship for the 6th time, I most certainly will then say it's been a very wonderful career. And thank God and all the wonderful people who's prayed for my success.
Ray continues to campaign in the middleweight division to establish himself once again as a contender for the world title. At 45 years of age, his next fight will be the last time he will ever step into a ring. On November 10th, 1965, Sugar Ray Robinson will take on the #1 ranking contender, Joey Archer.
Sugar Ray Robinson in white trunks, Joey Archer in black. The first 3 rounds were very close. Here in round 4, both men begin to throw caution to the wind. Again, they stand toe-to-toe and slug it out. Robinson must win tonight to put himself back in contention once again for middleweight honor. Robinson and Archer split rounds 5 and 6. Here in round 7, Archer lands a stinging left-right combination that sends Robinson crashing to the canvas. The referee counts over Robinson after that perfectly timed combination by Archer. Robinson says he's all right, and the fight continues. Torrid punches by both fighters. Archer won rounds 8 and 9 with accurate rights to the body and head. Here in the 10th and final round, Joey is definitely ahead in the scoring. There's the bell signaling the end of this great fight. While the fighters continue to receive a standing ovation, the judge's decision goes to Joey Archer with a hard-fought victory over Ray Robinson.
Former heavyweight champion of the world, Max Schmeling, seen here successfully defending the title against young Stribling, gives his opinion of Ray Robinson.
He was the greatest scientific. He was a wonderful fighter, and he was a distant fighter. He was a half-distant fighter. He was an in-fighter. He was smart. He was thinking. He was packed with head, and he was elegant. And it was wonderful to see to fight him. You know.
Former heavyweight champion of the world, Gene Tunney, is shown here destroying Georges Carpentier in 1924. Tunney, a magnificent ring general, now 80 years old, remarked that Ray Robinson was perhaps the finest boxer he had ever seen. The fabled Manasseh Mauler, Jack Dempsey, is here pulverizing Jess Willard to capture the heavyweight throne in 1919. Dempsey, one of the hardest punchers of all time, has seen every great fighter from the roaring 20s to the present. At 83, Jack declares that Ray Robinson, pound for pound, is the greatest combination puncher he has ever seen. Former heavyweight champion Jack Sharkey, seen here in 1927, bombs out the rugged Jimmy Maloney. Here's Jack Sharkey today.
One of the finest of my era. Of course, the other guys in my era before me were rough, tough, murderous punchers, you know, like street fighting type. I think Ronald Robinson was the epitome of a boxing master similar to Benny Leonard. Only Benny couldn't punch, but Robinson could punch. See, there's a difference. He's a combination boxer-puncher. He's a great fighter. He was. Great fighter. Great fighter.
In November 1965, just weeks after his loss to Joey Archer, Robinson announces his retirement from boxing. It has been a magnificent career that has spanned a quarter of a century and 21 world championship fights. As a parting gesture which had wildly enthusiastic approval of the world press, the boxing fraternity honors Ray with a retirement party. A final salute to Sugar Ray Robinson. Madison Square Garden, December 10th, 1965. A standing room only crowd has come to pay homage to a man they have cherished and revered for over a quarter of a century. His name represents the essence of classic grace and boxing perfection. Sugar Ray Robinson steps into the ring to gratefully acknowledge the thunderous applause. Never has the boxing world been so unanimous in its affection, and never was it so richly deserved. Ray stands in the same Madison Square Garden ring where 26 years ago he won the Golden Gloves and captured the World Welterweight Championship. This is a night he doesn't have to knock out an opponent to be declared the winner. There are 20,000 judges tonight, and they're all declaring him their permanent all-time champion. Joining in the ceremony tonight are 4 men, all champions themselves. They have come to join in honoring Ray Robinson. Clever Bobo Olson, middleweight champion of the world, whom Ray defeated to win the crown the 3rd time. Ponderous punching Gene Fulmer, from whom Ray won the middleweight title a 4th time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the former middleweight champion of the world, Carmen Basilio.
The magnificent Carmen Basilio, welterweight and middleweight champion, from whom Ray won the title a 5th time.
All the way from Leamington Spa in England, the former middleweight champion of the world, Randy Turpin.
The great Randy Turpin, whom Ray defeated to win the championship the 2nd time. The 2 men affectionately embrace each other. Turpin, Fulmer, Basilio, Olson, once Robinson's deadly adversaries, surround Sugar Ray to demonstrate their respect and admiration for this very special champion. world champions of the future, Ray Robinson's 25-year tenure is not a hard act to follow, simply because it cannot be improved upon. For boxing history has recorded centuries of great, courageous champions, but his fabled name represents the classic mastery of the sport. He brought to the ring a fierce pride, brilliantly exhibited in his boxing ballet, concluded with an explosion of accurate, devastating punches. For world champions who preceded or followed Sugar Ray, the highest and most dignified honor is simply to be compared to him. His invincible spirit represents an ideal of courage that has captured the imagination of a generation of sports fans.